Welcome to the Flipping and Wholesaling Houses in New York show. I am Michael Pinter, where I teach you how to flip or wholesale houses anywhere. And if you're already doing it, how to grow your business. Though I had an interesting story yesterday. I figured I had to do a video on it. My wonderful viewers may or may not have known that I am a little bit of a psychopath when it comes to squatters. So let me define what a squatter is. It's important that some people don't understand what that means. If a tenant had a lease and moved into a property and then overstayed their lease, they are not a squatter. If a property gets foreclosed on and the person who owned it is still living in the house, that is not a squatter, right? There actually are four classifications. Good time to talk about it. So there's a previous owner. There is a tenant, even if that tenant is not paying or a tenant has overstayed his lease. There's also somebody called a licensee. I never knew about that until I had a property in Bethpage to deal with. That means that it was like a friend or a boyfriend of the previous tenant or owner, and they were allowed to move in, they just never left. And the fourth is a squatter. Squatter is somebody who literally just moved into a vacant property. I have dealt with this a lot over the years, and they, for some reason, take what I believe to be a very normal, sane, calm person, and they turn me into the Incredible Hulk and a psychopath. Now, why does this happen? The law in New York favors the tenant. So much so that if you as a landlord come and say, hey, I just left on vacation, I came back and this person's living in my house, and that person, when the cops come, right, because a normal person would call the cops, pulls out a lease and says somebody leased me the house, the police will then say to you, sir, this is a civil matter. You have to go to eviction court, go to landlord-tenant court. So knowing that that's the case, when somebody moves into one of my houses, either that's listed for sale or for some reason, and what I'm going to talk about yesterday is a little bit different, first time that happened, it infuriates me and makes me turn into a psychopath. So just an example of some previous cases. I had a house in Elmont that I was in contract to sell. It was fully staged, fully. I'm talking about beds, furniture, artwork on the walls, beautiful. I drove by at night, lights are on, people are there. Somebody called me and that night a neighbor called me and said, hey, I think somebody's lived in your house. So that makes me crazy. So I'll tell you that story first, and I'll tell you yesterday's story. So I go there early, right? I'm up very early. I'm up before 5 a.m. I go there like 5:30, 6 a.m., ring the bell 600 to 700 times until some sleepy guy shows up. And he, of course, whips out. So I start cursing and going bananas. What are you doing in my house? What are you doing in my house? And he says something like, well, I have a lease, right? That's their standard thing. They have a lease. So it's important to understand. I don't know why the police don't do this, but none of those leases will stand up to 3 or 4 questions, right? And I'll tell you what those questions are and what you could do. I really should rent out my services, right? Because I go to the house really ready to do damage to property, my own property. I'm allowed to damage my own property. So I say, who'd you lease it from? I really want to know who's leasing out my house. And they always make up a name. And then I go, let's get him on the phone. Now, they never can get him on the phone because he doesn't exist. So they go, I don't know his number. This is what happened in Elmont. I don't know his number. I go, you don't know his number? I go, who are you going to call if something broke? Who are you going to call if the electricity went out? I go, I know you're not paying electricity because I'm still paying electricity. I have the bills in my car. And when I say these things to them, you can almost see their eyes like glaze over because they know that their BS lease is not going to stand up to any questions. Now, unfortunately, the cops don't do what I just did, but they should. They really should. So the next step is I push the guy out of the way. I go into the house and I start breaking my own stuff. I break a lamp. I break a hole in the wall with a baseball bat. I say, you got 3 minutes, and then the next thing I'm breaking is your head. Now, I understand that some people are going to watch this and go, whoa, that's crazy. And when I get to yesterday's story, you're going to find that even more. But understand, I'm 6'1", I'm over 200 pounds, I'm mostly muscle. I'm not afraid of anyone. I understand that one day this may happen, this may not be the best move, right? But I have to evaluate the situation. Now, understand what I'm trying to do. Well, I'll talk about what I'm trying to convey, why I do it this way. Right? I don't want the police involved. The police are not going to help me. The police are going to help them. Let's talk about yesterday's story, and this is the first time it happened. So I'll talk about yesterday's story. I had a property I'm under contract on for a year. I had given the seller a vacant price and a higher vacant price and a lower occupied price, and they said the people are going to leave, no problem. Of course, people didn't leave. They finally left last week, and they wanted the higher price. So they called me and said it's vacant. I went to see it on Sunday, so 4 days ago. House is really not in good shape. No surprise, the tenants didn't leave it in good shape, and I decided, you know what, I don't want to close on this. If I have to, I will, but I prefer to maybe find a buyer for it and just make a little bit of money above the price that I was in contract on. So I said, let's do a showing on Wednesday. I'm going to bring some potential buyers in. I'm going to bring contractors in. So we get there Wednesday. The owner is a very nice man, but he's very soft-spoken. The first time he's ever dealt with something like this. He wasn't clear to me because there were squatters here. I go, squatters moved in between Sunday to Wednesday? No, he's like, look, the guy's sitting in the kitchen. So when I see these things, I lose some control over my mental capabilities, right? And I start screaming and going bananas. And the guy shows the lease. He goes, Michael Jones is the. I go, who'd you lease from? Michael Jones. Michael Jones. I almost started laughing at him after, but I'll tell you about that. So I go, Michael Jones. Yeah, his number's in the lease. I look at the lease. I go, get him on the phone. He goes, I can't reach him. So then I go, it's amazing. You can't reach a guy that doesn't exist. I go, get the F out of here now. And so this guy wanted to know part of me, right? Because I literally look like a psychopath, screaming, yelling, and the owner says they change the lock. So I run to I didn't have my bat with me. I really should have my bat in my car. I run and I get my tools. I get my screw gun. I take off the locks. I throw these locks, and I'm screaming. That guy wanted no part. He gave me the lease though. I give it to the owner. I go, get rid of this. I go, get your ass to Home Depot, burn that lease. And the owner told me he had already called the cops. By the way, I left an hour and a half later. The cops hadn't come. Great. So he goes to Home Depot. I gave him a bunch of things to buy. All he bought was locks. Fine. Comes back. But while that guy is out, and I'm screwing they kicked in the front door. So I screw the front door shut, and change the locks in the back door. Some other guy shows up from one of the bedrooms. Right? Clearly drug addict. Not exactly a guy that's going to give me any trouble. You know, strung out. Looks like crack is his drug of choice, but I don't know. And he goes, I need to get my stuff together. And I go, great, get your stuff together and go. So I'm patient for a while, but I'm really in the back of my mind afraid the cops are going to show up. This guy's going to say, hey, I had a lease, but he took it. And this guy is taking his sweet time. So after like 10 minutes, my son was there also. He was afraid. I said, stay in the car. But I hadn't really gone that crazy except for the first guy who left. The second guy really taking his sweet time. At some point I go, okay, now I'm in a rush. And then he starts getting defensive. This is my stuff. I go, this is my effing house. I start screaming. He threatened me, so I went to I get my tool. I got a claw hammer. I threatened his life. I may or may not have threatened his life if anybody's watching. And I took all the stuff and threw it out on the lawn. And then I secure the house. The owner's there. I'm like, you need to get a few other things. And then what happens? So the stuff's on the side of the house. The second guy is sitting with some of his stuff on the other side. These are groups of just drug addicts that are looking for places to go. Like and some lady pulls up in a car, taking all the stuff and putting it in the car. And I should not have engaged with her at all. She should have meant nothing to me. In the end, it actually worked out. I'll tell you why. But I saw that some of the stuff that they had taken out were keep out and no trespassing signs. And when I saw those signs, I went bananas. I started screaming. I go, you were going to put signs up to keep me out of my own house? Remember, I don't even own this house, but I pretended I did. And she starts yelling at me. We got into some stupid, but I'm acting like a nut job. But what happened was the guy who was in the house, who was sitting across the street, he saw me acting like a psychopath and he just walked away. So that's good. He's out of the way. Then she threw some Mentos at my car. Whatever. I shouldn't have engaged with her. It was foolish of me to do that. Engaging with the people that are inside, that's good. So what am I trying to do here? What's the point? The point is I'm trying to convey to these scumbags that this house is not worth their time, right? I may or may not kill them, right? That's what I'm trying to convey. And obviously there's a risk. They can pull out a weapon. If I have my bat, I'm pretty safe with them. Most of them are incredibly drug addicted, like almost comatose. They're not going to get into a fight with me. If they do, it's not going to be a problem. So listen, if you're a 90-pound woman watching this, I don't recommend the same process. If you're somebody who's not afraid to engage in a strung out junkie, then you may want to do this or not. But again, this is the way I play. This is the 7th time I've had squatters, and the 7th time they've left with never had a problem. So I mean, I don't consider this a problem. I don't consider me breaking a lamp, breaking a table leg, and putting a hole in a wall that I have to fix a problem. To me, it's an acceptable solution. What is not an acceptable solution is having a tenant in there, a tenant, please. I would never give these guys the these are not tenants. These are low lives. I would never have them in there for 9 months while I go to court and spend money on legal fees to get them out. That is an unacceptable solution, result for me. So I know people watch this and think, like, Pinter's out of his mind. I wouldn't have changed any of the way I would have dealt with any of these people ever. I really believe that's the way to do it. You need to convey to them this is just not worth it. And you need to convey to them that their BS lease is not going to hold up to any kind of questioning. I wish that every single police officer in the world had the simple training that I have, because these leases will not stand up to any questioning, to 3 questions, right? Who is it? Why don't you have his phone number? That makes no sense. Why can't you get him on the phone? These are the things that make no sense. So that's what happened yesterday. It was a little bit exciting. I was a little tired before that. I had my adrenaline pumping through my veins after that. And that's it. Now, again, I'm not saying this is for everybody, but in New York, if you're not afraid to do it, I recommend it. I really should rent out my services. Get a squatter out. I should get the domain. Get mysquatterout.com. The problem is, if you already go to the police and they get involved, everything changes, right? I have bought properties from sellers who did the right thing, called the police, and the police go, nothing we can do. You got to understand, with that fake lease, they can get the electricity on. You can't shut off their utilities. You can't. It's a crazy situation. They really have the upper hand. So once the cops are involved, it's over. You don't want to call the cops, right? Every normal person's initial reaction is call the police, right? Somebody's in my house. They have no business being here. Call the police. And unfortunately, in all the areas that I know, that is not the right way to do it. Yeah, and it's nuts. So I hope this was helpful. If you're interested in all the ways I can help you, go to howtoflipnewyork.com. If you are interested in one-on-one coaching, go to coaching.howtoflipnewyork.com. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're watching on any media channel, please click the thumbs up. Those likes really help my algorithms. A lot more people have been seeing my videos lately, so thank you for all the likes. And please keep the comments coming. I don't always know what to say. Today I did, because I had such an exciting situation yesterday. But any comments, I usually try to respond to within 2 days. You don't have to ask a comment about the video you're watching. It could be about anything. I don't care. And if it's something simple, I'll just reply with an answer. If it's something new, if it's something I've covered recently, I'll send you links to videos on it. And if it's something new, I'll do a new video on it. So thank you very, very much for watching.